Hello, everyone. Thanks so much for joining me today. I'm Sophia with Garden State Film Festival. It is the 21st anniversary. This year, we have 237 films from 23 countries. One of those films you could check out is a really cool short film called The Tale of Captain Fortyhands. I know, what a title. And here to talk to us about it is the director of the film, Kyle Farmer, and the producer, Nishad Trivedi. Thank you both so much for joining me. Hello.
Thank you,
Hello,
Sophia.
thank you for having us.
Oh, thank you for making the film and taking the time out to talk to me. I'm excited to pick your brains about it. But before we get into it, can one of you tell us a little bit about the short film?
Yeah, so I can take that. The Tale of Captain Fortyhands is a pirate adventure drama. Um, so it's a story about a father reconnecting with his long lost son. It's like a little bit of dark comedy, a little bit of action. It's a really fun kind of big, expansive piece that we all got the amazing opportunity to work on at Chapman University as our thesis film with a bunch of incredibly talented um, costume designers, makeup artists, our cinematographer, our production designer, just a really cool team that came together on this one.
Yeah, totally agree about the cool team. Like the
Yeah.
production design, the location, all of it. We're gonna talk about all of it because it was so amazing. But first, I want to know how you guys got like all involved, got the crew together because I saw that Ella wrote the film and then Kyle, you directed it, and Nishad, you produced it. So how'd you guys all come together on this?
Yeah, I think this was really it was an interesting team effort. I'll get back to Ella. That was an interesting story, but yeah, so these are all like people that I knew since freshman year, and it was the capstone of our 4 years at Chapman. And so really it was so much fun that I got to kind of pull together the full team effort, the production designer, the cinematographer, everyone just raised their hand and said yes, we're along for the ride. I think it was really everyone wanted to work on the big pirate film. And then, costume, makeup, it was really everyone coming out of the woodshed, which was so fun, especially like post COVID, of like someone being like, "Oh, I have a friend who's a costume designer. Let's bring them in." "Oh, I have a friend who does makeup," and everyone said yes, super supportive. And so Ella actually came about. Me and Kyle, there was like an original treatment. We were going in different directions. And Kyle, you might correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it was Ella came up to you and was like, "This is such a cool world. Let me, I know you guys are trying to figure out this story because at the end of the day, that's the bedrock of any great film." And so Ella came to Kyle with this pitch. It was fantastic, and then we went in that direction. And she just created such a wonderful world and deep characters that were fantastic things to kind of build the rest of this stage around.
Wow. So you guys were building this treatment, so you knew you wanted to make a pirate film.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's what I pitched you on, Kyle, right?
Yeah. So I mean, mostly it was we had spent all this time developing those characters, so the world was kind of that's what it all was. Is it was about who are these characters, and then creating like real backstories and like imagining a you know a series length of where all of these movies could go, but then just picking like a really small moment in time, which is always the challenge of making a short film, of course.
Are you guys both like huge fans of pirate films? Like, have you ever done something in this capacity before?
Yeah, no, I actually haven't really done anything kind of fantasy adventure. Wasn't my ball game, but it was like such a unique story because at the end of the day, it ended up being this actually very kind of like small and close, story, which I was really drawn to, and I always wanted to take it in that direction. And Nisha, I know you're also, you're a big fan of big
Yeah,
blockbuster.
I think that
So
was, I'm a big fan of pirates, and I dive, I love the ocean. Like it's somewhere I feel super natural. And so I think we were going into, if you remember, there was a small thing that happened during our collegiate experience that kind of shut everything down. We're at home. We didn't get to make films for a while. And
Mhm.
so at the end of the day, I wanted to do something that, makes people happy. Like that's just fun and exciting. And I think that was the real impetus behind it, was to really come out with something also just very different.
It is.
And hopefully that's what, came out across on the screen.
Absolutely is. From the films that I've seen so far in the lineup, have not seen a film like this. And you hear pirate movie, and I'm like, all right, what's this going to be like? And you watch it, I'm like, how? So let me talk about the location first. How did you find this ship in this ocean? Beautiful location. How do we find it?
Yeah, I mean that was an interesting one. There's not a lot of historical ships around, so it was really a matter of a couple of ships. We're very lucky that the HMS Surprise, which was actually the ship they shot Master and Commander on, which is a fun tidbit, was lucky enough to let us shoot. The only issue is it was in San Diego, so we could only feasibly shoot on this ship for a day. And so that's kind of that location. And then everything below deck was actually a stage build by our super talented production designer, Lauren Adolph. And she did such a great job kind of matching that ship and really creating life down there. So it's difficult to see that it was a stage.
Yes, it is. I am so impressed. The magic of film. Oh my gosh. Kyle, what was it like for you directing something in so stylized with these amazing actors? Like, what was it like? What was the process like?
Yeah, well, I mean, it all starts in casting. Casting was incredibly fun for this piece, and it really all kicked off around us finding our incredible Captain Fortyhands, which is who was Brock Morris, who played that part, and the biggest challenge or the biggest thing to get used to with a project like this was scale. So obviously dealing with all the elements of a stage build, but then also, kind of like the haze that we were putting into the shot, because we had to keep that consistent across kind of shot to shot. And a lot of complex lighting was involved there. And just the practical limitations of shooting most of the film in a set, which is something that I had never had experience with before. And one of the most interesting things was that, we ended up casting Brock, not realizing exactly how tall he was. And so we had built a stage set that was, had clearance for kind of like average height. And once we had cast and we had pretty much the build was already set, we realized our Captain Fortyhands is going to be pretty tall, to the point where he's going to kind of like be, his head might hit the beams. So we had to, kind of work around that. But it kind of worked out for the best because he was always intended to be a really large presence and to be kind of like cramped in this ship environment. So yeah, it's a lot of happy accidents and just working with kind of what comes to you and making the best out of it.
Was casting difficult? I mean, I would imagine like the tone of it, even the accent and everything. Like, how long did it take you guys to find these characters?
Yeah, it was definitely difficult. It was, all in all, it actually ended up spanning almost 2 months, I think, which is pretty crazy. But a lot of it was we were narrowing down. We got a lot of interpretations of the different characters, especially Tiny, who kind of plays opposite Captain Fortyhands. We had different age ranges. We were considering casting someone that's younger. There's a lot of trouble associated with that, just from a logistics standpoint. And so so it was kind of like narrowing down how exactly he's going to speak and exactly the presence that we want. And we just had so many people were interested because they were just like, this sounds crazy. So
Right.
it was choices. It was just kind of like decision paralysis.
Oh my gosh. So you guys had one day on that ship, and then you had to build that set, and there was also some on the beach. How long did filming take entirely?
Yeah, I think that's an interesting question. It was 6 days, 6 long days of physical production. I think another thing to note was because of that big C thing that I mentioned earlier, we were restricted on crew size, so it was everyone pulling double, triple duty. Our UPM, who one of my really good friends, Henrik, who also helped pick up a lot of the producing load on this, was in a pirate costume the entire set. So he's at Walgreens picking up water for Crafty in a pirate costume. But yeah, I would say it was like 6 days of principal production. We were building that set, Kyle, I believe, 3 months in advance. We started that in December, and then this has been in incubation. It was probably since May, the first inklings of an idea.
Oh, wow.
So it was a full year.
Yeah.
No, sorry, you adding anything, Kyle, on that? It's crazy.
Yeah, no, I think that's about it. Yeah, we the first draft of the script was that summer of that would have been 2021, and then we were shooting through till January 2022, and our with like about 3 months of post. So it's I mean, you actually end up spending a lot of time with those 15 minutes, that you end up with.
Right. What would you guys say was the most difficult part of the process? Was like pre-production, filming, post? Any?
Mm. Well, I think Nisha might have a different perspective
Right.
because deal with different
Producers.
things. But I mean, I think I think I think coordinating across departments and trying to like sort of oversee the stage builds, all the incredible work that Lauren did on that. And not having experience with this it's all just kind of visualizing how you're actually going to approach the day, and then production itself. Those 6 days were, they really were nonstop. And on our ship day, when we went down to San Diego and we got to shoot on the ship, is not only our last day, so it was like we have to get it. We only had about 6 hours wrapping load in to load out, and it was just it was just a nonstop struggle to make every last minute count. And then once we did, had a party in the parking lot, great, huge celebration, but
much deserved.
Yeah.
I think for me it was a lot of prep. I think Kyle is very talented. So the moment we were actually on set and everyone was there, all the things were there, everything was moving, I'm like, that's when I was able to be like, okay, this is going to run its course. Yes, things will pop up, but we're good. Like, I think the ship day, I was pretty much below deck, just finishing up paperwork the entire time. While chaos is happening above, but I trusted the team. It was really, for me, it was prep. It was like locking down that ship location. It was, as you can imagine, we did this in an academic environment, and this is not the normal for a student film. So there was a lot of questions, a lot of people I had to meet with to assure them that nothing's going to happen. No one's going to get hurt. I believe our insurance broker now knows me on a first name basis. But I think it was a lot of kind of those puzzle pieces going in, maintaining budget throughout. And so I think once we actually got on the set day, it was putting it in the hands of all the talented creatives to just execute.
This is a hard question. If you guys had to pick like one thing that is most important as a producer, as a director, to do on like a big scale project like this, would there be one thing? What advice could you give?
One thing, I think it's got to be preparation, which is kind of a generic answer, but we found some really unique ways to visualize and plan and block out the scenes before everything was done, because we were in a situation where basically not everything was going to be ready to go until the day of. So we used some 3D modeling software that we took kind of like the designs, the mock-up for this stage from SketchUp, and then we actually put human models in there to kind of see what the scenes are going to look like and plan out those shots meticulously. In a situation where you don't have room to kind of try a lot of things out, you've got to get your shots and go. It's always just about really having all the preparation up front, so that if you can make a little extra time to get try a different style of performance for one shot, to get a different emotional reaction, that's what it's going to leave you with. So basically that's what I do, is I plan for no prep, for no improvising, so that hopefully there is a little bit of room to mess around.
Right.
Yeah, I think I would say the biggest thing was keeping the emotional core throughout, keeping that story, because it's everything going around. But if there's nothing in the center, then what are we doing here? Because at the end of the day, you want someone to have a story that they leave and feel like they enjoyed. And so for me, that was really slowing down in the development process, bringing in Ella to help get a great take, get a great story, going into production. I think on production specifically, there was a couple of those moments with Tiny that those just need to land to make the film. So I remember there was like a question. It was me, the first AD, Kyle, and they're like, "Hey, we need more time. We need to just cut some shots." And I'm like, "Yes, if this is the key emotional moment of the film, then let's stop it." I think it was Kyle might correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it was kind of that last confrontation between Tiny and 40 before he jumps the ship. We literally like got people off the set. It was a closed set. It was really maybe 5-6 people, and they just went for it for a couple hours. And I think the results show themselves on the screen.
Absolutely. The story is strong. Visualization of everything's just wonderful. I can't even explain it. So, guys, thank you so much. We're running out of time, but I know you both will be at Garden State Film Festival, right?
Yep.
We'll be there.
Love it. Let me tell everyone watching how you can see the tale of Captain Fortyhands and meet these amazing artists. It will be playing at Jersey Shore Arts Center Saturday, March 25th in the film block, 12:15 to 2 p.m. So definitely check it out. Get your tickets at www.gsff.org. You can get Parkway passes, which will get you in all the events, the panels, all the screenings, or you can get just day passes and check it all out there on the website. We'll see you at the film festival, and thank you guys again.
Thank you so much.
Bye.